It is Sunday night. It is time for another edition of Giant Sports Talk Live, and it is another day. I'm not hearing anything. Wait a sec. I'm hearing things, but it's not the San Francisco Giants. Pitchers continue to sign. We're going to talk about it. I'm Glenn. He's Lou. It's coming up next on GSTL.
And now, Giant Sports Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Eric and Glenn.
All right, it is Glenn. I am in tonight with Lou sitting in for Eric. He is on vacation, or he's on something. We're not quite sure. But Lou, welcome in. I think the intro summed up the day. Pitching, it continues to fall off the board, my pal, but I don't see any booking flights for SFO. What are you hearing out there?
Well, as today, another pitcher went down. Well, let's go over the last 2 days. I don't know if we really spoke last night, but, the Giants obviously need help two different ways, in the bullpen and starters. So let's just go over yesterday. Okay. Kyle Finnegan signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah, we know that. Mm-hmm.
Right? Kenley Jansen, a 1-year contract. Kelly, Jansen could have been good with us, because we need somebody. And then today, Merrill Kelly re-signed back with Arizona. As you know, he got traded, but he was a free agent. And I think the key about it all is it's only $20 million. Eric, a couple weeks ago, were complaining, oh my God, we're $39 million for starters, $32 million, $29 million. $20 million is probably the bottom rate of a starter. So if the Giants can't get somebody at $20 million, that means we're not getting anybody. I know we talked about the old man yesterday, but it's just gotten to the point now where what are the Giants doing? Are we going to get older pitchers that maybe might not last the whole year? Or are we just going to get so cheap, we're going to keep what we have? And as we spoke last night, the Giants have 3 different holes, okay? 3 holes: starting pitching, bullpen, and really their offense, I think, is really lacking. Last year was an embarrassment. We led the league in strikeouts. We had some guys that hit homers. We had Adames, had a decent year. I mean, to tell you the truth, him being the Willie Mack Award was sort of embarrassing. It should be, you got to at least bat 250. But, yeah. The Giants just have holes. And like I said last night, I wish they would just work on one. When you have 3 holes, if you can at least get one done, then you only have 2 things to worry about and you can get throughout the season. But another starting pitcher off, it's getting to the point now where what is left? And they obviously aren't going to get the kid from Japan. So that's actually another guy we might as well just say is gone. There's just sort of, I'm going to say, crumbs right now left that, we're trying to go cheap. And if we do that, what's going to happen? Very simple. We're going to be worse than last year. And I don't want to be worse than last year. Hey,
stop beating on my drum. You're beating on my drum. Everything you're saying, Lou. I mean, you and I are in such agreement.
Yeah. And Johnny Owens, you might not like Kelly Jansen. He's a relic, but he had a great year last year. He would have led our team. So I know that's not hard with our bullpen, but he was very, very good last year.
Ask him this. They're already here we go. It's going to be a fun-filled evening in the chat, by the way. Oh, and by the way, it's day number 3 of the 12 days of Christmas. Oh, yeah. So, Lou, I'll be watching. And, as we continue to chatter in the next hour or so, 60 minutes, we'll be watching to see if they come up with tonight's word of the night. You wish it was like the old 60s game shows, Lou, where we, they couldn't see it. And you go, and tonight's word of the night is.
Wasn't that password?
I think it was.
Yeah.
You and I are really showing our age.
Yeah, that's great with the guy. And tonight's word is, or the mystery word. Yeah.
But tell them there in the chat, Lou. They can bitch all day. And I'm not exactly a Kenley Jansen fan, but let's face it, we don't even have a closer.
Yeah.
So isn't Kenley a little better than nothing? And look what the Arizona Diamondbacks have done. Talk about a guy. Let's just, for argument's sake, say he was willing to take one for the team.
Yeah.
You've got a pitcher you just brought up as Kelly. He got traded at the deadline. He was traded. Lou. He was
Yeah.
traded, and it benefited Arizona. He pitched at Arizona State University,
So he's
lives in
local.
the Phoenix area,
Yeah.
and then they deal him. They get a package back, and what do? They just go out and re-sign him, Lou. So they benefited for the what? Month and a half, 2 months that they lost him. The team benefited.
Yeah.
I don't know what we do, Lou. I mean, again, we sound like broken records, you and I, when we do this show some nights. But Lou, where have we picked a lane, Lou? Have we picked a lane or what?
Well, I think, I'm just looking at the comments. First of all, I'm saying, do you want Ryan Walker as our closer? He was so inconsistent last year. I don't want to hear the excuse, oh, well, he felt the pressure. It was his first year. No, he is not a closer. Ryan Walker is more of a guy, maybe the 7th and 8th inning. But one thing about Ryan Walker, you guys think he's good? Name anybody except maybe Colorado. Would he be in our division? Arizona wouldn't want him. He wouldn't pitch for the Dodgers. He wouldn't pitch for San Diego. So again, I think the problem is we get these mediocre guys that give us mediocre in return, and then we're surprised why we're a 500 team. And it's gotten to the point, hey, Giants drew $3.2 million last year. They made money. Their establishment in the back just hired 3 huge clients. Visa, some company I've never heard of called NVIDIA. I don't know. Are they good? They only have they're only worth billions. It's just got to the point where the Giants are making money. As I talked to Eric about 2 weeks ago, I showed him a stat. Their payroll right now is only 40% of what they made last year profit-wise. And the old Giants regime in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, they were spending probably almost 75% of what they make. The Giants, for some reason, are holding back. And it's hard to say that the Giants are almost running the Giants like a hotel. They're not running like a ball team. To me, if I was one of the owners and you're making money, you got to get back to the crowd. I think what the Giants should do, hey, if we don't make the playoffs, lower the prices of the Giants tickets. They've been desperate. I don't know if you guys have been seeing the Giants. In fact, I'll tell everyone right now, if you're interested, right now you can buy tickets for the Yankees and the Dodgers series. Right now, they're on sale. They're $129 if you want to see the Giants and Yankees. But I'm just getting to the point now where, it's just so frustrating being a fan because Buster says, hey, guys, the fans deserve it. We're going to be better. Okay, well, what have they done? To me, you got to make a statement sort of now before the holidays and do not wait till the last second, because here's the problem. It's going to come to the point where you're going to have a player A and player B. They want to sign, they want to be on a team. And beside the Giants, he's going to be looking at 4 other teams. And each of the 4 teams are going to say, hey, do I want to go to the Giants? Do I want to go to Tampa Bay? Do I want to go somewhere else? Why would you want to come to the Giants? They're just average. So I think it's one of those things. Oh,
they continue to draw too, Lou. Like you said, they continue to draw. And I know in years gone by, some of the other shows, over on NorCal, they were continually saying that the way you nip this in the bud is you got to tell ownership that I'm not just going to, and I've said that, didn't I bring this up in last night's show, Lou? We talk about so much so often now. I can't keep track. The off-season's tough to keep track of. I think it was just last night's show. Or maybe it was 2 nights ago. I said, Lou, you have got to, as a fan, you're supposed to be entertained. You're paying for a product, Lou. So the only way you kind of show your point of view to the organization, to the ball club, is by not buying a ticket. I said to Eric on the show, Eric, I am not mandated that I have to. Eric, there's lots of things, Eric, to do in the. I know Eric's watching. Hopefully, he's got his little portable as he's moving around on location tonight. Eric, there are lots of things I can do in the Bay Area. One of them to WNBA. There's lots of shows. There's concerts. Lou, literally, there's not a day goes by here in the downtown Bay Area. I cannot go over to the Caltrain station. I cannot jump on board the Muni, the J, or the N. I can go across town, and I can spend my money and be entertained, Lou. But while the fan base continue to, for whatever reason, I don't know, continue to go out and support a ball club that basically isn't supporting the fans, Lou. The organization does not recognize this as, it's like they don't feel they have a mandate to fulfill, to prove to the fans, like, here, we're giving you, something. When a new movie comes out, what do, Lou? Coming soon. Yeah. It's the big preview and the big trailer. And our organization is just like, hey, don't forget, Yankees in town, opening day, come on out. It's not that, to me, it's not exciting, Lou. And they have not, over many years, especially in the offseason, what have they really built? Have they built momentum? Has things grown in the off seasons? I mean, they did get Adames. That was early, day before even the winter meetings. But for the most part, last year was pretty hush-hush. It was, as Eric said in tonight's thumbnail, it was crickets. And I'm seeing a lot of that again this year, Eric. And I know people like to say, don't panic. Don't panic. Lou, I was listening to, don't panic, December will be here and it'll be okay. Now I'm going to hear, don't panic, let's just, Christmas goes by, we'll all just, take a deep breath, January holds. Lou, shit or get off the pot.
I think the one thing is we're complaining, but not enough. Go to New York. As we had Armand on the other day, New York is in a frenzy right now. They're pissed off. They lost their closer and they lost, maybe not their best bat, but a guy that, has helped them, sort of the face of the franchise, and they're gone. They're upset. They're pissed off. If this were to happen in Philadelphia, right? Maybe the big guy, went somewhere else and didn't come back to Philly. They would be getting roasted. The Giants right now are sort of like the beginning of Major Leagues, the movie. Like, who are these guys? They're going to be the same as last year. I saw somebody in the comment made up a great point. The Giants right now are worse than we were last year. Because last year we probably had 12 holes. We probably got about 20 holes right now. Okay. It's one of these things. We don't want Ryan Walker as a closer. So we don't have a closer. We don't want cheerleader in right field. So we don't have a right fielder. We have a catcher that guys like for framing, but next year that's not going to be as important because of the new rule. But he can't hit. Okay, we don't have a second baseman. We have a guy who at times last year proved good, but here's the other thing with Casey: he seems to get injured a lot. Okay, I want a guy that's going to be there for me at least 150 games, and he just had surgery. So again, it doesn't matter how it is. The people are not the same after surgery. Then let's go by our pitching staff. Webb, who everyone thinks is great, has had 3 years where he's pitched over 200 innings. Innings are not like rubber bands and they bounce back. Okay? Sooner or later, knock on wood, it's later, he's going to get injured just because that's how it is. Okay? I'm sorry. But, nowadays guys are averaging 140, 160 innings. He's pitching 200. Then we have Ray. 1 year left on his contract. So that means one of two things. Either he's going to have a great year and he's going to walk, or knowing Ray, who's been injured and everything, he's going to have another down year and get injured and the Giants aren't going to sure what to do. Number 3, I'm not sure. We have a 40-year-old guy going out, and we possibly have a 40-year-old guy in the winner's circle. And I call him the winner's circle because he is a winner, but we're getting him at the very last of his ability. Our 4th starter, nobody seems to know. Okay? Guys that probably are great AAAs, we're not sure. 5th starter, I'm not sure. Why? Because last year we had 3 guys competing for the 4th and 5th spot. Now we probably have 6 or 7. We still don't have a leadoff hitter. We have a guy in Lee that you guys all think is great, who last year was the worst center fielder defensively in the league. So what do we want to do? Well, we got to move him. Well, it's hard to move him when you got Ramos, who really can't play the field that well defensively. True. And then you got cheerleader and left, but don't worry about it. What we're doing is we're putting all our luck in a brand new manager who's never, ever done it before. That's exciting. Well, listen, the Giants have so many problems. It's almost like, oh, well, Lou, we're going to say the same thing next year. Got to give Buster another year. It's only been 2 years. Give him a chance. You got to give Tony V a chance. It's first time doing it. He's going to make mistakes. Well, I'm sorry, but this is the major leagues. Okay? This is the big time. I'm sick and tired of the Giants coming up with these excuses. Oh, you got to give him another time. You got to give him another time. Same thing. Let's just go with Chapman. Chapman's had 1 year. If you look at his stats, he had 1 year offensively where he's good. Yeah, but he's good defensively. Okay, well, the Giants have had great defense, and it's getting them nowhere. Nowhere. We need offense. We need guys who can put the ball in and hit when it counts.
Yeah. Aaron Lost. Hope you're on the mend, buddy. We think about you, Lou, I, and Eric, and a lot of people in the chat, too. We know you were laying low, so to speak. Lou, you got the camera a little low. Looks like you've been eating a few of those cookies, too. There you go. In jest, Aaron says, other than that, Lou, we're okay. We're okay. So, Lou, let me bring up something that's been a bone of contention on this show, and that is the name Logan Webb. I said I would trade him. I went back, and actually I've been mocked recently, as you know, by other channels, but I just grin and I can take it. I'm like, I think it's amusing. But I must say, those same channels were saying, look, why don't you just rebuild it and trade him? Why don't you just get rid of him? Because they brought up an interesting fact over on NorCal. They said, look, how many more years are you gonna get Webb where he's actually playing almost a full season? This guy's over. Lou, I don't wanna call sour grapes on Logan Webb, or wish this on him, but he is overdue. Father Time slowly catches up on you, Lou, especially for pitchers. And in this day and age, doesn't it seem like he has been somewhat, my favorite, has he been somewhat lucky, Lou? Has he been lucky that, he has not suffered any major or lingering injury that has really set back a season? And I keep saying as we enter the season, Lou, with such a limited pitching staff in order, that I just had a conversation, I think it was with Robbie Dizzle yesterday. I said, Robbie, come on. Just picture this, Lou. 30 days into next season, and you turn on KMBR or turn on Giant Sports Talk Live, and we say, well, guys, we don't know what to say now because, Robbie Ray will be sidelined for at least the next 3 months. Lou, that'll be one thing. Logan Webb, we lose him for 3 months, Lou? Come out of the foxhole, wave the white flag, and just go back in there.
And I know Webb pitches sort of awkward where injuries are often, but you got to remember, injuries can happen anyway for a pitcher. Going to first base, colliding, collisions, a 90-mile-an-hour fastball back at you. The Giants have actually, over the last probably 3 or 4 years, have been blessed. I know Casey had a few problems last year where he got hit on the arm, the forehead, the elbow. That's just baseball. But it always seems like the Giants, at least the fans, always say, oh, my God, we've had so many injuries. Now, guys, we have been blessed with no injuries. We just haven't been good because of the products we have. You guys want to talk about injuries like last year. At one time, the Dodgers had 8 starting pitchers on the DL. 8. We don't even have 8 starting pitchers on our roster. So imagine that. That's what they went through. Other teams go through the same stuff. The Yankees lost Judge, for 6 weeks. Their best player, they lost 6 weeks. Okay, so the Giants have been blessed, but just over time, it happens to every team. You have one of those years, and, the Giants have been blessed, like I said, and they're due. That's all I'm saying. I think the thing about the Giants, too, is they talk a great game, right? Now, Tony V, Vitella, is saying, hey, we're going to be more aggressive. But I heard this last year. I don't understand. With Melvin, we're going to run more. Okay, so they ran the first 3 weeks. If you guys remember that first road trip, they had like 9 steals. They were hitting behind the runner. They actually had 2 sacrifice bunts one game, which was unbelievable. And then it just stopped. And I think, and I think the thing with Tony is, especially during spring training. These professionals are going to agree with them. But once the season goes, the bright lights, egos always get in the way. And then all of a sudden, people start doing the same thing. It's like Lee. Why Lee will have a great week. He'll have like 11 hits, and they're all slaps, right? Opposite way, everything. And then all of a sudden, he thinks he can start hitting homers. And he's 0 for 9, and they're all either strikeouts or fly balls to the wall. These guys have to play to their best ability to just be a little bit over 500. That includes pitching. The thing about the Giants is all 26, and then it will include the other 6 coaches and managers, all have to have record years for the Giants to be competitive. And that's the problem. That only happened one time in the last 12 years, and that was 2021. If you look, 4 guys offensively had career years. We had a manager, career year. Bullpen, career year. That, it was a fluke. So you got to take 2021 out because it just doesn't happen like that. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where, and the thing about the Giants is they keep using that as an excuse. Last year, I thought they kept trying to manage and make moves like it was 2012. Okay, baseball's changed. It has changed so much. The Giants got to realize we need to change. And it's one of those things. I think of Toronto. Toronto changed because they realized, hey, if we can get everybody to put the ball in play and put the pressure on the defense, we're going to be successful. And if we can do that and have maybe 2 superstars around there that can play great ball, we're going to be competitive. And what happened? People forget Toronto finished dead last in the East.
With no pitching. No pitching.
Treat that. They finished dead last in the East. That means Tampa Bay had a better record, Boston. And then last year, they're in the World Series. So it's possible, but you got to get players that are going to fit your system. And I think that's the biggest problem. I don't know what the Giants system is. So when you try to get a player like Adames, he's going to fit our system. The only thing he fit in is he struck out and could hit in runner scoring position. That's not a winning thing. You got to come up with a winning formula. If you look at 2010, 12, and 14, everybody knew what the rules were. I thought last year the way Melvin ran the bullpen and did some of those things, nobody really knew. Nobody knew who the 6th inning guy. Nobody knew who the 7th inning guy was. The only person that knew his role was Rogers in the 8th. That was it. Because we really had 2
And then we unloaded him, Lou. Then we, again, no identity, Lou. Again, it just shows to me personally that the team just, don't you agree, Lou, that Rogers was one of the bright spots we had for 5-6 months out of 4 months, I should say, out of the bullpen? He was your guy. You called upon him, and I think only once he sputtered. The rest, he was lights out, Lou. Spot on. And maybe that was why perfect opportunity. I had to train him. But really, I mean,
he fit.
I'm looking ahead, Lou. Yeah. I'm looking ahead, Lou. We make that big trade. Did that trade? Our trades don't even seem to I don't know. I don't see benefits.
Well, how about
why do other teams? Why do I turn on other media markets and they say, well, if we're going to trade this guy or this guy, player C, we want Major League ready talent. I'm not always seeing Major League ready talent coming back to the Bay Area, Lou. Where is it?
I got a question for the chat. Does anybody remember what trade happened last December? What the Giants did, who they did it, and what it affected? Do you happen to remember, Glenn?
A Giant trade in December?
It was either December or early January. And should I give you a hint? I'll give you a hint. Two code words. Lefty and possible brother.
The other Rogers.
The other Rogers. We traded to Cincinnati for a box of rocks, but it saved us $6 million.
That in December? Oh.
So I just don't understand. That should have been a warning right there. Wait a minute. We traded a lefty because we thought we had a better bullpen. Again, I don't know at that time when that trade happened, who was making the decisions. Was it Mania? Was it Buster? Was it our owner? Or was it maybe one of the guys on the chat who we don't know Some of our buddies who think the Giants are the greatest, but you trade him to save $6 million. You don't think we could have used Rodgers last year? If you remember, we traded him and we still only had one lefty on the bullpen. Do you remember we had one lefty for the first 6 weeks of the season? That's embarrassing.
Lou, that was a bone of contention here at Giant Sports Talk Live. How do you compete without balance? I mean, again, it's a case of no balance on this team. And George Curry, who had his comments, I mean, revered. The guy was on the MLB Network. Eric's like, George Curry's on the MLB Network. I was like, I had to go back and take a look, but I got a question. He says, Dodgers, la-da-da. I don't care about the Dodgers. Giants take care of their pitchers. They're not overused. But to me, George, and I bring it up with Lou, I feel like they kind of overuse. I mean, they rely on Logan Webb to such a point as they call him the ace, Lou. Look at the innings that he puts up year after year. And again, that is why I say that if you continue to push him, and as George says, they are not overused. I think he's being overused, a lot of pressure on him. And Lou, the more you do that, I think the more that there's that susceptibility to injury. May not happen, but the more you push, and again, he's no spring chicken, Lou.
No. And the other thing too is George is saying one thing, but how can you overuse somebody when the Giants starting pitchers only go 4 1/3, 4 2/3? But we had nobody that could get to the 6th inning.
Yeah, but as far as Logan Webb, Lou, Logan Webb is our innings eater.
Yeah,
he's our innings eater.
We have him because the other 4 starters can't average, I think, like 3.3 2/3.
Yeah,
and that's why don't say we don't overuse them. At least I remember the last 3 years, the second half of the season, our bullpens were shot. We couldn't get anybody out. From August, September, and October, last year at one time, which is hard to believe, our pitching staff had the 3rd best ERA.
Yeah,
unbelievable. And we wind up like the 17th. That tells me we have problems. Now, again, I don't know if it's the coaches, the overusing. A couple times last year, I said, "Hey, we had the best manager in the business to use the bullpen, which was Bochy." But the last 2 managers have been horrible. It's almost like they don't know what they're doing. They just don't know what they're doing. It's like our supposed ace this year who went under the knife, so he'll be back with us when there's no season in 2027, so it's pretty productive, couldn't pitch back-to-back games. I don't want guys that can't pitch back-to-back games. I'm sorry. But what happened to the guys, a pitcher like a Rob Nen, who literally would do whatever it took? Rod Beck, who pitched 6 straight days. I'm sorry, but these pitchers these days in Major League are so pampered, it's ridiculous. A real baseball player will go out there and do whatever it takes to win. One of the quotes about Bochy is, I have 9 innings. I will use the whole 26-man roster. I'll worry about extra innings when I get to it. But the problem with the Giants is, Bailey's up. I know he's 0 for 3. He struck out all 3 times, but I don't have a set backup catcher. What do you mean? Every team has plans, right? You got to use the players you have because most likely if you can't win in the first 9 innings, you're going to lose in the extra innings. And let's not talk about the extra innings. The Giants, when they get a runner at second, one game they'll bunt him over. One game they don't. A lot of times our guy at second just stays there and gets cobwebs because he never gets a chance to come around because,
Lou, most of the season last year, I remember when I brought this up with Eric a lot of times when you were over, before we signed you as a free agent, I don't know how much you checked in with us, but one of the things I talked about a lot, especially late in the season, Lou, I could never understand why the San Francisco Giants would make the managerial move, and it was a wise one, of course. You get a slow guy, you get Wilmer Flores, who's your guy off the bench, gets it done. So he comes in, gets you a base hit in the 8th or 9th inning. So what do? McRae or somebody, they try to upgrade at first by putting in some speed, but then would never steal the base, Lou.
Never. It's completely useless.
You know how many times they pinch ran, they put Fitzgerald, who didn't even stay the whole season, but he would go into pinch run and just stand there. And He looked like he was like in a Western movie. He was ready for the draw, standing there. I'm ready.
Yeah.
They never send him, Lou. I don't get it. You know what, Lou? And then they took the proverbial sword. There's another problem I have. You talk about Bruce Bochy. Now managers, they took the proverbial sword away from them where they have to, well, you have to pitch to 3 batters. I mean, come on. They're ruining the game. Anyway, Lou, you go out and buy some baseballs, Lou. What do you buy? How many do you buy? What comes in? You buy a dozen, right? You go out buy some eggs. What do you get? You get a dozen. Well, how many chances do you get to win? How many chances do you get to win right here or qualify to win at Giant Sports Talk Live, Lou?
12.
Giant Sports Talk Live, brought to you by Lefties in Burlingame. Visit Lefties for all of your Giants collecting needs. By GenesisGoldIRA.com, Signatures for Soldiers. Duxwell Printing, for all of your printing needs in the Bay Area. Visit Duxwell Printing at 37 Wentworth Place in San Francisco. And by BetterCreditCards.com. For the best credit card choice for you, visit BetterCreditCards.com. Covering the San Francisco Giants nightly online. We are Giant Sports Talk Live. Now, back to Eric and Glenn.
And of course, Eric is on assignment tonight. My name is Glenn. He is Lou. I am the sexier of the two. The guy doesn't shave. I don't know, man. You didn't quite make the makeup room before the show, but you know what? Just before we continue, I know we're continued like the ESPN of the world. We're a sports network, Lou. But I was a little shocked earlier today. Did you see this news? The news that broke in the world of entertainment, Lou?
And isn't that familiar? Wasn't it 2 years ago where a couple down in LA had a problem? Yeah, why don't you talk about it?
Yeah, well, if anybody didn't hear the news earlier, I mean, and I knew him as, as a youngster. I really didn't like All in the Family. I didn't get it. Yeah. And he played such a weird role in that as the son-in-law. Yeah. And, he was kind of mocked and maligned. He was mocked and maligned. But then, dude, he became such a world-famous director. Well, 2 people found today in L.A. dead. Director, actor Rob Reiner and his wife. Apparently now they're saying that around 3:30 this afternoon in the Bay Area, as far as our time, down in L.A., Western Pacific time zone, it may have been murdered by one of his sons. He's got 3 sons, I believe, and a daughter. But that is so bizarre. That is so bizarre. So,
for him, what were your like 3 best films you could say of him?
Oh my!
That you enjoyed.
I may have to cheat and look up and kind of pick from a list here. Maybe I'll do that. Let me see what I got here. Rob Reiner films. You want to start things off with one?
I'll tell you the truth.
Number 3.
I was a huge fan of Wolf of Wall Street. Which was based on a true story, very unique. And I'm a little bit different all over the place. One of my favorite films growing up in 1985 was a film called The Sure Thing with the great John Cusack. I really enjoyed that.
I just talked to Johnny Cusack, Bernice, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago?
Growing up, he was one of my biggest fans. Really good. And then I'm going to throw a sort of a curveball one because, I want to leave some for you. But I really enjoyed Ed TV, which is another one he did. I'm more of a big comedy type of guy, because I know which 2 you're going to bring up. So I wanted to go a little bit sideways. I know one of them was in the chat, but let's see.
I'm sure you know. Oh, well, you say 2. I probably have come down with. I'm going to stick with classics. I'm a classics guy. And I would say my number 3 would be Stand By Me. Remember that film from '86?
Of course, great film.
Stand By Me, the coming of youth there in that movie. And then 1987 followed it up a year later with The Princess Bride.
Great comedy. Another great comedy.
And then the most orgasmic of films, Lou, the most orgasmic of films in '89 when Harry met Sally. And what a great car ride that was.
Another great one.
So there you go.
I'm sort of surprised I'm surprised you didn't talk about the music one. That's what I sort of left that for
Spinal
you.
Tap?
I don't know if you remember
Spinal
Spinal
Tap?
Tap.
Yeah, there was a first and second edition of those ones too, I think.
Yeah, I still haven't seen number 2, but the first
They're
one.
all good, Lou. I mean, here we are. We're talking about breaking down 3, and you say, "Oh, well, neither one of us. You didn't bring that one up either, Lou." So, I mean, there are so many good ones.
I sort of left it for you because of your business. But
yeah, but
he was a guy from New York, made it big. I don't really. He was very political at times. I don't really talk about that on here, but I thought as a director, it's sort of amazing. Growing up, he was a guy that got first of all, in case you guys don't know, All in the Family was what can never be made now. There's no way. There was racism.
There was on TV now.
Yeah. I mean, it was just amazing. But two guys growing up really became huge directors. Mr. Rob Reiner and then Mr. Ron Howard of the Great Happy Days, where they, behind the cameras, just became, made huge hits. And I think what was just amazing is these were films all over the page, that you could do. But he was very good at his art, just one of those things. I was just going to say before you brought that up.
Yeah, he was, look at my movies. They were more like, kind of loosey-goosey. They were teenage type movies, Princess Bride. Yeah. But then you took a little different angle, and then, like you say, musically. So he was not a one-trick pony. But again, that was tragic news today. You can follow that either.
I mean, A Few Good Men we didn't bring up. Probably one of his, probably one top three films. So he's done a lot. He deserves to be mentioned, and a huge loss, in the business. And it's just weird because I'm trying to think who it was 2 years ago, another couple down in LA, both of them. Chat, help me. Who was another couple like 2 years ago that both passed away during Christmas holiday? Down in the Hollywood Hills.
You're talking about Gene Hackman and his wife?
There you go. Good call. Gene Hackman and his wife.
Good call, Bernice.
Like last year or the year before. Way to go, Bernice. Yeah, it was very weird. Same thing. You know what I mean? So it's very bizarre how it just happened, but you think it's his son. Guys, a lot of people in the chat don't know, and I'll just tell Glenn. I lost my dad 2 Tuesdays ago. That's why I was sort of out for a week.
That's right.
And, it's the holidays, guys. Make sure you tell the people you love them. Spend every time you can, especially during the holidays. My family, we're all nuts. I know that. I have brothers and sisters. We're all nuts, but we always, at least for the parents, spend Thanksgiving and Christmas together. You have to do that because once they're gone, you never can do it again. And it's one of those things where you'll realize who your close friends are outside of the family when you have a problem. I lost my dad. I was down. Glenn, Eric, a few guys reached out to me. We're all blessed to have friends and we're living. We always see tragedy, but it's one of those things where we're lucky where we are. I mean, we're lucky we get to do this show. We're lucky that we have a chat so we can do the show. And we get to talk about a great thing, baseball. But at the same time, it's always good to talk about breaks, about this because the Giants get old after a while. We want the Giants to do something. It's almost like every night we go in the green room and we're wishing something. Damn. All right, we got to go back, push.
Give us a talking
stop and play. Yeah. But, I think it's one of those things where we just appreciate what you have. Take care of your loved ones. And, occasionally, even if you don't get along with people, it's okay just to text them, hey, just wanted to see how you're doing. Any plans, anything. And we'll just leave it at that. It's one of those things. So, well,
I kind of went off the script a little bit there. That was kind of breaking news.
That's all right.
This afternoon, and that was kind of a shocker, Lou, because Rob Reiner, that's a name we grew up watching him. He's produced so many films he directed those films that we have grown up watching and now watching our older years. But yeah, that was bizarre, and it seems to happen around Christmas. I don't understand, Lou. Anyway, more of that coming up. Check your local news network. And, you talked off the top of the show. Kind of one of the topics was Merrill Kelly, $40 million deal, but He stays in the National League West. He's back in Arizona. They deal him with they're classic. They trade him at the deadline, and he comes back, resigns, and they get all the eggs too. So you brought up an interesting title for a movie. How about it's the title for our show tonight? Rebrand the show, Lou. A Few Good Men. That's what I'm looking for. A few good men, Lou, this offseason. So far, haven't seen them. And I mentioned earlier in the show, Lou, to you and to the chat that, you don't have to support this product. I'm not, I don't believe you don't have to endorse. It's like people who don't like our show, Lou. If they don't like Lou, they don't like me. Well, you don't have to come here. Or they want to bitch and complain. Lou and Eric have seen what I'll do. If you want to keep bitching and complaining and slamming doors in people's face in our chat, and you I'll never come back. Well, then Eric and I make sure we just block you. Then you can't. You said it. You ain't coming back. No need to keep it open. Don't leave the door unlocked. So, Lou, I feel that in a way, the fans have to step up to the plate.
And Glenn, you brought up a great thing. Yeah.
Let the franchise know how disheartened you are by going out and selling out games, Lou.
Yeah.
It doesn't set a direction for the team to, well, look at all the money we're making. We must be doing something right. No, build a winner. I mean, winner, winner, chicken dinner. And I told you, Lou, before in the green room, I said, you know what, Lou? There will be a coming time in this whole thing when the Giants are not, quote unquote, the only trick in town in the summer. And people will spend their entertainment dollars. They will, divide it up. Hey, there's nights where I go, you know what, Giants are playing, but let's go, a new movie come out. Maybe it's a Rob Reiner film. Let's go see that new movie. So there's a night I'm not in attendance. Or maybe, I have season tickets for the Valkyries. So there's about, There's 30 nights. I ain't at the ballpark. I'm down at the Chase Center. I love it. And while the fans continue to endorse a product that they'll bitch and complain about, but they still go over and they buy a ticket, Lou. And you talked about getting in, why they should lower prices. My God, Lou, don't forget that we can still go, Lou. You and I pick a game. I'll get you the ticket. We can go for $10, $5 a ticket, Lou. It don't get much cheaper than that. And what do I say? Why are they $5 a ticket, Lou? Because that's all it's worth.
It's all it's worth, yeah. I think the big problem, too, the Giants have done one thing this offseason, which is a celebration. It's on their website. They don't have Giants baseball, nothing like it. But the season hadn't started yet. They don't have a new logo on their website. So that's the one thing, they have done. Nothing like it. Because after 3 years, nothing like it. Yeah, there's no playoffs. Yeah, nothing like it. I will make golf plans. No problem. So,
look at that. Imagine, you know what? JB is down in Australia, and JB, as an Aussie down there, continues to cheer on our Giants, and he's a regular on the show here. So, Jay, thanks for coming in again tonight to Giant Sports Talk Live on Sunday, December 14th. Imagine the message opening day if there were empty seats. Lou, I think there were a few empty seats throughout the last few years anyway. But it's always, Lou, you and I know the old wink, wink. Tonight, a sellout crowd. And I go, did they take into account the upper bowl or what? I don't know.
If you look at the schedule, very lucky they're the first ball game of the season. So they're playing the Yankees. So that's going to be a sellout. They then take a day off and they have the Yankees, which is fine, right? But I think the one thing the Giants have made a mistake is they don't play the A's anymore. So their spring training game is going to be against a Mexican AA team. That's their 2 games before the Yankees.
Wait a sec. So the days of playing Sacramento/Oakland.
Yeah,
that has now been eroded with
the Sultanes Mexican League, and they're only doing that because one of the owners of that team was a former pitcher of the Giants, and you can get tickets right now for them for $10. Okay. Then you have the Yankees, which is great. Hey, Yankees. But the problem is, except for the Mets, every other weekend is going to be miserable. I mean, let's just do it since we got a second. We have the Yankees. Then we come home for the Mets on the weekend, which is great. Right.
Yeah.
Florida Marlins. That won't sell. Pittsburgh Pirates. That won't sell. This is a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The great Chicago White Sox. That won't sell. You do get lucky where you get the Cubs, but you have 2 firework nights. So, they're sort of throwing in just in case the Cubs aren't good. We have
it's a fireworks night. The only fireworks will be after the game against the White Sox. Yeah. I'm telling you.
Then, so you get both Chicago teams. Then you have the Atlanta Braves, they don't draw. The great Colorado Rockies, they don't draw. The powerhouse Anaheim Angels, they don't draw. Then, now we're in August, the great Detroit Tigers. Knowing the Giants' luck, Skubal will be traded, and the Tigers won't have Skubal, so, we're not going to see him pitch. And then you get the great Colorado Rockies again. Then the great Arizona Diamondbacks. You get the Padres. And then finally, at the end of the season, when the Giants are eliminated. Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. And then you get the Dodgers to end the season, where the games won't mean anything.
Lou, as a longtime fan, do you not agree with me that, the merch, the giveaways, the freebies, those should be sort of a thank you. And they're making money off. Listen, the team does those, Lou. When it's team, it used to get cool ones, especially in hockey. You had a team calendar. You get the big rolled up team calendar with the big team photo and the calendar below. You got cool ones that have seemed to be gone now. We get the same shit over and over and over. Pardon me, same stuff over and over and over every year. But they used to be sort of a moneymaker for the team because they're all tonight's calendar night brought to you by Ponderosa, and they have the logo on it. You get your, everyone, Lou. Yeah. There's no discriminating of what section and what age and what color. You got a poster. Now it's the first 10,000 get there early. And on a Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, Lou, the lineup is up over the bridge. And I remember when it used to be that it was sort of a thank you to the fans. Now, as you mentioned, Lou, you got Miami and you got the White Sox. Those will be bobblehead dolls. You know why? Because they're trying to bring you to the ballpark, not for the product, but for the giveaway. That's what it is. And they're trying to sell you on the giveaway, Lou. And that isn't baseball.
Yeah.
All the greatest giveaways the last few seasons. I know when Eric and I went, there was a bobblehead doll. Why? They're playing Colorado. It's bobblehead doll. I go, no shit. It's Colorado. They got to give something away to get people in because they ain't coming for this. They ain't coming for the product. So, Lou, this is and they got to get some fresh ideas. And I applaud the teams that kind of shake it up, Lou. Come up with something, even if it doesn't, it goes against you and I have that grain where let's give it some classic Giant stuff. But even when they do the stuff like they promote and that's cool. They promote the Valkyries. They promote the other teams in the area. And, I don't know what it has to do with Giants, but at least just give me something fresh. Just keep.
Yeah. I'll give you 2 things. First of all, Spencer, it's Sergio Romo owns part of the team. He's responsible for bringing them not one game, but we get him twice, which is great. We'll see how it is. The other thing, too, about the Giants on the giveaways. They're doing Bruce Lee again for the 6th straight year. Okay. Bruce Lee, I know he's from the city. It's a great giveaway, but you should do that like every 4 years. You don't need to have a Bruce Lee night every 6 years.
An anniversary sort of thing.
Yeah. The only one I would do is the Grateful Dead night, right? Which is fine. You have people from the dead that are still alive. They're local. Have a dead night, no problem. But you don't need to do it now that Bill Walton's not here. Jerry's gone. It's changed a lot because people have gotten older. That generation has sort of moved on. The thing about the Giants, too, is if you have a sponsor like Chevron that's worth billions and they say the first 20, tell them to do the fucking first 40. I don't see Dodger Stadium doing it. What they do is they give out 40,000, and if they run out, they give free vouchers where fans can get them. We have it where people get stuff. They'll buy cheap tickets. They'll go through 3 or 4 times. It's on eBay. And the other thing, too, is most of this stuff is crap. The last one I remember where the Giants thought outside the box is when we had Brandon Belt, because the ballpark is as cold as candlestick, when they had his head with the earmuff thing built in. And it was great because fans would wear it. Okay. Remember, Panda wasn't a giveaway. That was something you had to buy. But they had that giveaway where, hey, it's cold. You know, you can put the flax. They had the flaps on the ears with the fur so you could stay warm. And it was great. I was sort of upset I didn't get one. But, you know, they got to think outside the box. You know, maybe like for Tony, since Tony's here, do something with Tennessee. You know, hey, bring in Peyton Manning night. Have a bobblehead with him or a famous player from, you know, Tony's generation. Got to think outside the box because a lot of the giveaways, too, they do, the average person can't wear. I'm sorry. You got to be a newborn or you got to be so thin because every time I've gone to a giveaway, they stop. They're 100% cotton, so they shrink, and they're large or extra large, and you're lucky to get there by large. So you get large, and you wash it once, the emblem comes off because it's so cheap, and now it can barely get over the head.
Lou and I are screwed. I go in the back entrance. I get there early. I get one that I need an extra or an extra probably, but I'll settle with the extra large. And they go, not with the smalls and mediums at this gate. I'm like, I just waited 2 hours. I waited 2 hours for something that it looks like a hand puppet, Lou. It's this big. I'm like, look at you and I, Lou. I'm not fitting into a small or a medium. So that kind of
Glenn, why haven't they thought, especially where if they know they haven't sold 40,000, how about give the people a voucher and you can get it on the way out? Because how many times you get a giveaway, you put it on your seat, it drops by your seat or it goes on the floor where it cements. Now it's ruined. And what do? You just, you know, do it. Like, you remember last year, the big giveaway, what they had? The Dodgers were in town and they had a Barry Bonds bobblehead for a Dodger night. Why in the hell would you give away a Barry Bonds bobblehead when the Dodgers are there? It made no sense. So they got, you know, I don't know who makes these decisions, but, you know, some of them are not the greatest, but you got to give something to the fans back. Glenn, I don't know about you, but when I grew up, when it was bat day, you actually got a real bat. It was a big bat. It was heavy. You felt like special. Now
it's dangerous, though. But yeah, you give them on the way out.
Yeah. So you can actually enjoy them on the way out. Yeah.
I'll give you another example, Lou, why you do things on the way out. I was broadcasting a game in Fredericton, New Brunswick. It was the Canadians, and I believe it was the St. John's Maple Leafs. And things got out of hand that night. But the promotion was you got, I think, a T-shirt. If you brought what they were doing, they wanted the crowd to make noise. So everybody had to bring a box of craft dinner and shake it.
Okay, nice.
With the whole stadium shaking it.
And then you donate then would you donate the food after and you get a giveaway?
The only problem was a couple of bench clearing brawls. All hell broke loose that night. There were oodles and oodles of noodles all over the ice. Fans threw. It was craft dinner everywhere, Lou. Of course, it had to be that night. All hell, people fights everywhere, and everybody threw the craft dinner on the ice. And so I got to agree with you that some of these promotions, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to earn it. You should be given it, and give it on the way out is a great idea, Lou. Don't forget, we're looking for the word of the night, Lou. We are 53 minutes into the program tonight. I know you've been scanning at times.
Yeah, you give a few. You've given out a few.
I've tried to leave them down. I don't know if you caught it, Lou. I've been trying to leave them, but you know, sometimes they don't bite. But this word of the night. We're on night number 4 or 3? 3. This is the 3rd. We get a long way to go, Lou. And I don't want to keep you here late. I could go all night. You know that talking.
No problem. I'm having a good time.
So
we're having good topics.
Yeah, we're moving it along, and we got the chat involved again tonight. It's a Sunday night. Not much else to do on a Sunday night. The Niners were lucky again today, Lou. They
played Tennessee. People are making it like they played an incredible win. They played Tennessee. Tennessee's got 2 wins. They're the worst team in the NFL. Let me tell you something. I'm not going to badmouth the Niners, but they're making it. Oh my God, our coaching's great. The Niners are so lucky to win 10. They'll get their asses ripped when the playoffs happen. They're not that good. They're very lucky that they've actually had a last place schedule. Yeah. You know, it's amazing. That's just me.
I agree. You and I think it was a week ago, I just mentioned I mentioned that to you, and you agree. The 49ers they sort of play to the level of their competition. They win.
That's a great call.
It seems like they play to the level of the competition where, they'll compete and maybe they'll win against the better teams in the league. But what did I say to you, Lou? And I don't know if you agree with me. I said, you watch first round of the playoffs, people will be, why did we get, oh shit, it was a terrible year because we lost in the first round of the play. Well, that's as good as you were. You played up to the weakest schedule. Now once you make, those teams aren't in the playoffs, Lou. Those teams are gone. They didn't make the playoffs. So you sneak in, and then what happens? You got to play a solid football team. What happens? Gone.
Yeah, I look at our division. Would you rather be a Niners fan going to the playoffs?
Yeah.
Would you be a Seahawks fan or the Rams? Of those three, who do you think's most likely going to win?
I don't know. I'm a Winnipeg Blue Bomber fan, so to me, it really doesn't matter. You're preaching. And you're a Saskatchewan Rough Rider fan. I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look and see if there's another team next year I could pick.
I mean, over the next few years, I wonder which teams do Bay Area fans like? Who's gonna get the support, Lou? Because again,
it's tough. You got to remember, we were told Susan last year with the A's one more year in Sacramento and them going to Vegas. The Giants have this whole area. They have no competition for baseball. They have the money. It's like everything's falling on their lap and they're not taking advantage of the situation. Yep. I don't know what to say. It's like, are you kidding me? It's one of those things. I mean, and I'd be a little embarrassed because, you have the Valkyries right down the road and, they went to the playoffs last year. Giants didn't. I'm sorry, but, you're in the same area. You're a mile and a third apart. One team made the playoffs. Every game sold out. The other one, just average. An
expansion team to boot. All these fans that would come in and, I take the ribbing. The WNBA this, WNBA that. And the ones that usually bitch and give me the hard time about the WNBA, I usually say, how many games have you watched? Well, I've never watched. Then how can you have a serious debate on a topic when somebody doesn't bring anything to the table, Lou? So, I first of all, there's that issue. But they were an expansion team. They had the coach of the year who had never coached before. She was like an expansion project. They got a new coach. Obviously, it's an expansion team, but she'd never coached before. This was her first taste of head coaching duties. She did a marvelous job. People in the NBA are raving about her. Like NBA eyeballs are watching her.
Gotta give them the credit. Good. I thought they'd win maybe 8 games, 8, 10 at the most.
Lou, I came on air. I came on air one night, Lou. I said they'd win 2. I said it would be that bad. They win 2 games, Lou. They're an expansion team, Lou. They're an expansion
team. Their first game of the year, they got blasted. If I don't remember, so.
Well, they sure were able to compete. They beat the Indiana Fever.
Yeah.
With Caitlin playing over in Indiana. So they pulled off some big wins, made the playoffs. They had what happens again? It's an expansion team, had a great year, Lou. But what happens? You make the playoffs. They got in. You got to play. It's like 1 versus 8. So of course they had to play the mighty Minnesota Lynx. So that didn't. And they almost pulled off a win in that series. Well, a game that
on the road.
Yeah. Remember they were up. Eric was doing the show, and I'm like, Eric, I'll be back. And they were up by 15 in the third, and they lost. But that's okay. That's okay. You can only if you set your. If you can, you got to be able to maintain your expectations too. Just because they were winning, and I go, whoa. Just they are an expansion team. It'll be what it is. They're not going to win the championship this year. Calm down. It's just like the Giants are not going to win the World Series next year. Let's just temper our expectations, Lou. I mean, I haven't seen Robert Rothberg poking his nose in as of late. He goes into hibernation. He goes into hibernation
until the season starts.
Spring.
Yeah. No, so, Philip. That's not what I said. They might have the 4th toughest schedule as of now, what they say, but their schedule this year was a last place schedule.
Yes.
So what happens is if the Niners finish 3rd this year in their division, they will play beside their basic opponents 3rd or 4th people in the rest of the league, they do it. That's how it is. They were very lucky they had a last place schedule. If you look at who they played, I'm just going to look over right now. If I'm, again, Niners, they won at Seattle. Great win. I will give them that. But if it wasn't for a butt fumble, they would have lost. They then beat the powerful Saints, who won today. So now they got 2 big wins. They won by 1 point, got lucky against the Cardinals. They then lost to the Jaguars. They beat the Rams. So I got to give them credit. That was when the Rams were dumb enough and they went for it, right? And then they lost to Tampa. They beat Atlanta, who I think Atlanta's 4-7. They lost to the Texans. They beat the New York Giants, who got 3 wins. They got blasted. It wasn't even that close to the Rams at home. Then they beat the Cardinals, who again only has 4 wins. They lost to the Panthers. They beat the Panthers, which I thought was a great win. I think that was a Sunday night game, if I remember, or a Monday night game. Then they beat the mighty Browns. Browns have 2 wins. Okay,
I like that.
I'm just telling you. And then they beat Tennessee today, who's got 2 wins. So I just think
he's like the $6 million
man. They're very lucky of their schedule. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. The guys are, they're poking fun at
usually the Niners play first place schedule. We're only, Glenn, we're only going to have Steph. When he retires, is that going to be a destination? Do you want to go see the Warriors without Steph?
Yeah.
Would you want to go to a game?
I don't go to that many anyway. I'm a women's basketball fan. But listen, Lou, again, you try to have, I'm not going to, it's not a bitch session. I'm in a good mood tonight, Lou, and I think you're pretty good on tonight too. It says, besides like expansion teams and the fever, interest for the WNBA is minimal. Lou, let me go back, roll back the reel 4 minutes. How many sellouts did the Valkyries get at about 19,000 a night? How many this year?
I think every game.
And they are sold out next year. They're sold out. They sold it. So how is the interest minimal around the WNBA if they sold out last year and they sold out next year and they're an expansion team? Lou, see, you can't, there's no logic to that. But anyway, that's just
Glenn, it's just like Valmont, am I saying it right? They played the Broncos in preseason. A fan like me, we don't really count preseason games. They played the Denver Broncos in preseason. To me, that's not a real game. I only count what counts during the regular season. But they did beat the Broncos, but it was preseason.
Lou, you and I are bouncing back. You're going football. The Valkyries are an expansion team, Glenn. So you kind of are proving my point. No, you're proving my point. They're an expansion team that shouldn't win any games, Lou. What do expansion team? Lou, expansion teams like the Golden Seals, they were drawing like 2,000 a night.
The opening night would be sold out, and then that would be it.
Yep, the next night to be
I
attendance 800.
I went to the San Francisco
expansion teams, Lou.
Yeah, San Francisco. I went to the San Francisco Spiders, San Francisco Shamrocks, which were hockey teams. Opening night, new thing would be packed, and then it would be done.
Yeah, and where are all those teams now, Lou? Where are they now?
Extinct.
Yes, the Spiders became extinct. My old buddy of mine from Fredericton, he used to, when I broadcast there, Brent Bilodeau used to be a defenseman for the Spiders, and it was just woeful, And we see that, Lou, in some of the Major League Baseball cities. Don't kid yourself. The places like Colorado where it's opening day is a sellout.
Yeah.
And then the next day, Lou, 3/4 of the stadium's empty, and I just there are other.
That was the biggest problem with the A's. The A's opening day, they would get 42,000, and if it wasn't the Yankees or the Giants candlestick before they became really good, opening day would always be a sellout. Always. Opening days are tradition. It should be. If anyone ever talks to Donald, tell him, hey, we should make opening day a national holiday. But after that, the Giants went from 62,000 at the stick to 14,000. And if it wasn't for the Dodgers coming in, and when the playoffs, nobody would. I mean, it was ridiculous.
WNBA lost money again.
That's
they
how
lose
it
money
is.
every year. And you know why they lose money? Because they continued to roll with teams that were in this league when it was fledgling and when they had teams like they have a team in Connecticut, Lou, and they draw like 2,000 people. It's time to clean up the league. You don't need teams in Connecticut drawing 2,000. In fact, Connecticut is moving to Boston. So there you go. That cleans up that angle. So all of a sudden, the team in Boston takes over and they make the money that the Connecticut team playing in a casino. And you go to Vegas enough, you know, or you go over to the MGM, Lou. Or was it the MGM? Where do we go to the game?
T-Mobile.
Mandalay Bay. Mandalay Bay, you go to see the Vegas Aces in the casino. You go to see the team play in the casino, and there was, Lou, half the stadium was empty. You know what? Put it in Boston. Toronto sold out next year. They have an expansion team. You know how this league makes money now? You put it in cities where they buy tickets, Lou. I mean, Sacramento. Sacramento won a championship in the WNBA, don't forget. But they didn't draw. It wasn't a basketball city for the WNBA. Put WNBA where WNBA should be. San Francisco, Toronto, New York, Boston, Detroit got a team. Portland's got a team. Lou, if you were an investor,
even with all the competition in Vegas, the Aces still draw well.
They draw well, and they won a championship. They built teams to win. They have Asia Wilson there. But anyway, I can talk about that all night because I know. Lou, not to be arrogant, I know what I'm talking about, Lou. There are other teams in the Bay Area too, Lou, that they are building it the right way. They are putting money into the team. Great give. I mean, you got to agree that there are other teams and other leagues that you can support in the Bay Area.
You know,
that you will, and you're going to see some of them. You're going to start to see win on a more prolific scale too, Lou. So I don't know. Here we are in December. Eric says, don't panic. Eric's always, you know what? I always say, if you look real close, Lou, it's funny. You got to look close. But if you look real close, I got a photograph here. Look way up in the top corner. The guy looks scared up there, doesn't he, behind the taxi cab? That's Eric. Eric looks a little panicked. He said, don't panic, but that looks like Eric's whittling those fingers to a nub. He's worried. Are you worried, Lou, as each day and each week and then months go by and we're really not we're not playing hardball? Lou, you think about that. I know that's a tough question. You think about that. And while I remind the folks at home about the sponsors, you come up with an answer to that one.
Giant Sports Talk Live, brought to you by Lefties in Burlingame. Visit Lefties for all of your Giants collecting needs. By GenesisGoldIRA.com, Signatures for Soldiers. Duxwell Printing, for all of your printing needs in the Bay Area. Visit Duxwell Printing at 37 Wentworth Place in San Francisco. And by BetterCreditCards.com. For the best credit card choice for you, visit BetterCreditCards.com. Covering the San Francisco Giants nightly online. We are Giant Sports Talk Live. Now, back to Eric and Glenn. Christmas returns to Giant Sports Talk Live. Ho, ho, ho. Be watching Giant Sports Talk Live for the 12 days of Giant Sports Talk Christmas. We'll announce one qualifier each night for 12 days, and on Christmas Eve, we'll draw for a grand prize of a Giants game day experience with Glenn, Eric, and Lou Marsden, which includes front row dugout seating and refreshments, and a bonus prize of a Will Clark autographed team helmet. To qualify, simply be watching Giant Sports Talk Live and pick a number between 1 and 12. Then on Christmas Eve, Santa's elves, Glenn and Eric, will randomly choose the grand prize winner. The 12 days of Giant Sports Talk Christmas on Giant Sports Talk Live. Brought to you by Tommy's Mexican Restaurant, where it's always a festive time of year. Giant Sports Talk Live, a Northern Lights Entertainment broadcasting station.
Lou looks so happy in the middle of that pie. You got Eric and I, and there's Lou popping in like, hello. And you know what, Val? I don't hear that often, so I'm going to take it and run with it. Glenn knows his WNBA ball. I appreciate you saying kind words. Lou, let's bring you back into the show there. You froze up on me. My question to you.
Sorry about
people
that.
No worries. That is technology at its finest. We don't usually have those problems here at Giants, but we're fully functional network, Lou. So, you clean it up, mister. So my question was, we've got another day, another week, then another month out of the way. Some of the guys, while I was asking you and you froze up, they were coming in with their answer. They seemed to be like, uh-oh, yeah, it is maybe time to panic. And I brought up the photograph. Did you see the picture I brought up? And I was saying to you that if you look closely, Eric says, don't panic. But it looks like it's Eric panicking up there in the top corner, Lou. So my question is, are you panicking at all? Or are you on the Eric train that, don't worry, there's always, wait till the calendar flips into 2026? Or do all we get is like the meager player, the crumbs then? Where do we stand, Lou?
I'm worried because I think the Giants, and we've used this word, I'll give you two words about the Giants and the ownership. Cheap, and the picks have to be safe. And what I mean by that is saying, hey, for too many years they use, the guy's from the area, let's take a chance on him. But I'm sort of sick and tired of getting guys that are off, double hernia surgery. Like, the guy.
Talking about that last night, Lou. Talking about last night.
Hernia surgery, shoulder surgery. When a team wants to give up on a guy with 2 years of control, you got to see his availability, and why would they want to get rid of him if he's so good? And
thank you, Lou.
And the problem with the Giants being too safe is once Steph is gone from the Warriors, there's no superstars left in the Bay Area. I mean, who do you want to go to an event to go see?
Let me ask the people. Maybe that's a good question, Lou. What is the event? The night out, where do you spend your entertainment dollar in San Francisco? What is the best product to go and spend your money on, Lou?
Usually House of Prime Rib. I'll get an end cut.
I knew, you, Mister. I've got an in every day.
Or I'll go to one of our sponsors and have a Tommy Margarita because at least I'm getting something for it.
Lou's taking me there for Christmas. Apparently, that's the word on the street. I don't know.
I'd rather spend my money and watch the Giants on TV sometimes and have a couple Tommy Margaritas because at least we're having fun. I think the biggest problem with the Giants last year is they were stale. They were sort of stale. You sort of knew what it was. They're down 3 runs. You knew they were going to come back. And I'm not saying they didn't have big things, but no, we have Chapman. That doesn't get anybody excited. Nobody's excited about him. I'm talking about guys like the arcade at Fisherman's Wharf. Or Pier 39 to be more likely. There's like the guys that you turn on the TV and you say, I don't want to leave. I don't want to watch. Like when you see, and that's the thing about the Bay Area right now. They're really lacking that superstar material. And we're lucky we have Steph. But the Giants don't have anybody of that stature. Come on, guys. No. Chapman is a solid defensive player. He's not a Hall of Famer, as Susan says. Adames, he's adequate. He's a good shortstop, but he's no one's like, oh my God. And if you think Adames is so popular, I never see his jerseys out at the ballpark. Never. I never see Adames anywhere. I mean, last year in my row, I saw William Flores twice. You know that, Glenn? I saw William Flores twice in my seats. Now, one time was with you, and then there was another guy who didn't speak English, but he was a Flores fan, and he had his jersey. You don't see anybody else. And I think that's what the Giants are really lacking.
There is.
Yeah,
there is. Yep. There's my boy. Look at there.
There you go.
I'm going to miss that infectious smile.
Yeah.
Where's he going to sign? I got a prediction, Lou.
Sure.
You know where I think he goes? You know where he would come off the bench beautifully?
Toronto
Blue Jays, Lou. He has just his bat. Doesn't his bat play as a Blue Jay in the Dome Stadium? Oh, Lou. And listen, anybody who says, "Oh, are you kidding me?" There's been a what is the word? You know what? There's been a past It's been propensity. They have a propensity, something like that. They got a reason for going out and getting players like him. Because didn't they go out get Brandon Belt?
No, Belt went through the system.
But Belt went and played for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh, no, I'm saying after the Giants. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
He
lasted, a year and a half?
Blue Jay.
Yeah.
So the Blue Jays have taken their run at, but it's the other way around, Lou. I mean, come on. I know I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Wilmer. Wait, I'm a fan of Wilmer. Would you rather see Wilmer go to the Jays and we get Max Scherzer, or vice versa? I'd rather just keep. Let's just keep Wilmer. I don't want Scherzer, and that
one's going to win more games for us.
Yeah, that's a damn good question. I think Scherzer's at the end of the candle, the wick is just burned right to the bottom, right?
It's like, why do we get these guys? It's like, it's like, I'll use the dating analogy. She was so good looking 25 years ago.
For this portion of the show.
What do you mean?
It's dating tips with
25 years ago, but now you're with her? Come on, guys. And the other thing too about the Giants, besides being just full of excuses. Every year it's the same thing, and it's just one of those things where it gets frustrating. I mean, it's one of those things, Glenn. There's only certain teams that have superstars in the major league. The Bay Area doesn't really have any superstars. We don't.
Oh, well.
And I think we're lacking. It's sort of like our Broadway shows in San Francisco.
Steph is
we get the touring. Yeah, but, he's getting old.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then what happens, Lou? What happens then,
Lou?
What happens when your team becomes the bottom half of the league? That is when you start going to Oracle Park, Lou, and you see more blue there against the Dodgers than you do orange and black. I'm sorry, but that is true. It is starting to show those colors right now, Lou.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's hard to be a fan. Purdy is not a star.
You go over to San Jose. You go over to San Jose, and the Detroit Red Wings are in town, and I'm like, my God, the arena's awful red tonight.
Yeah. It's one of those
things. The hockey started to get a little better too, Lou. I gotta kind of give them credit. Because you know what? I think other teams pick a lane, and that is I know it sounds like a broken record at times, but it truly is. That's something that Dan came up with on his show. Pick a lane. Pick a lane. I think in fact he did a short on that recently. I saw it, and it really is true, Lou. I give him credit. I said to Eric after the show last night, I saw he had posted up a new show yesterday during the day about, I'm going to revisit Pick a Lane. He had a nice graphic. I said, you got to give the guy credit because this is a serious topic. The Giants don't. Why are they going to rebuild it? No, they want to just kind of piece it together. You know what happens when you piece it? Yes, you piece it together, Lou. If you piece it together, you're getting by. You're getting by.
There you go, getting by. Yeah, it's frustrating, and it's, hey, I love going to baseball games. I love it. There's nothing like it. But it's frustrating. The thing is, when you go to a Giants game, I could leave in the 7th or 8th inning because I know this team's not coming back. I'd rather get home and I'll watch the last couple outs. It's a destination for a while, but there's nothing special that's going to keep you there. It's one of those things.
I'm just saying to Bernice, she's like my special, like, I don't know what you got there, Lou. I have an audience of one here.
Nervous.
Couldn't sell tickets in my studio here. I got one, and my studio audience has just said, "My God, how many you've given? You've basically given them the word of the night, and they refuse to come into the chat."
Come on, chat. Think about what we've said. We're trying to give away. Think about what we've said.
We've talked about.
We're trying to give you the word of the day.
Yeah, so. I've tried to lead them in. I've tried to endorse the product. The word of the night. Nobody can get. Now they're going to start cheap. Is cheap the word of the night, Lou? Nope.
No, because none of us have said it. Even though I've said it, you can't. We're not going to say the word of the night. So none of us have said the word of the night.
Hope he's not talking about the show. I think he's talking about the product the Giants put on the field.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Just think about it. No, not Pick a Lane, not rebuild. Oh, River Cats. That's actually a pretty good guess.
Hey, we got Robbie C in the house. Good to see Rob. Hopefully he's feeling okay.
No, not rebuilt.
No, Lou, we're gonna have to prolong this show. We already got almost an hour and a half, and I figured tonight's would go early. Especially you and I were talking in the green room about the specific word, which I got to admit to the guys, unless you want me to run and get an envelope, I didn't even write it down, Lou, because I said
I wrote it down, but no, I all right.
It's gonna be an easy one. 5 minutes.
Saber Cats. That was actually a pretty good guess.
From Giants fan.
I don't think they exist anymore.
You know what? There's some good words getting complacent, dull. Yeah. Let's put it this way, Lou. I'm going to give them their first. Oh, I've given them plenty of hints. They just didn't realize it. First major hint of the night. It has nothing to do with the Giants.
Yep.
And even my bell
we haven't said the word. So if we've said the word, it's not the word of the night.
I don't think I've even said the word. Have you? I don't think we've done everything we haven't.
Yeah. No, that's actually a pretty good guess. Oakland, but that's not it. No.
Yeah, I think I used the word Oakland earlier in the show. We've talked about the WNBA. We haven't used the word. We haven't used the word of the day. Day number 3 of the Giant Sports Talk Live, 12 Days of Christmas. So looking forward to giving a prize away Christmas Eve, Lou. Christmas Eve, we're giving away the front row box seat and refreshments. That might be the key to get everybody excited. Refreshments. And we're also giving away the Will Clark team signed, not team signed, but a team issued batting helmet. And maybe a few other prizes from potential. We got a new spot. Tell the folks at home who's sponsoring the 12 days of Giant Sports Talk Christmas.
Not Margarita. We've already spoken Margarita. Again, guys, the word of the day, nobody has mentioned in the chat. I have not mentioned it, and Glenn have not mentioned it.
Nope.
Well, shitty. Now that's actually a good guess. So that's pretty good, but no.
But again, Lou, we haven't said the word, but we've talked about it.
Yeah. No, not Tommy's. That's actually a pretty good guess.
Tell them about the sponsor. Tell them what Tommy's brings to the table in this sponsorship.
Sure. So Tommy's is a restaurant on 24th and Gary, family owned. It's 60 years they've been in existence. Retread? No, that's actually pretty good. No, and they're famous for their Tommy margaritas. Tommy margaritas are all made. Is a type of margarita with a type of tequila that's 100% agave and fresh lime juice. And then they have a special sauce. Well, it's a syrup. And their Tommy Margarita is known worldwide. So when you go to Tokyo, Japan, right, and you say, I would like a Tommy Margarita, it refers back to the Tommy Margarita that was made so long ago, 60 years ago, at Tommy's Mexican restaurant. Very famous. You go there. They also probably have the top 500 tequilas in the world there. And then the owner is named Julio, is the #1 judge in the world of tequila. So when you're sitting there, you could actually, people try to sell tequila so they carry it. And he'll go, the bottle looks good, but the tequila tastes the shits. I don't want it. So he's a big type of person who's very nice. It's family owned and it's a kick-ass place. I'm actually going Wednesday with my grammar school alumni. So that's right. I got out in 1981 from grammar school, and we're meeting there for the second year. And it's fun. You know, you get to talk about nothing like it.
No, it's not. They're trying to come up with a word of the day while you're giving us a little soliloquy. Bernice, no, but that's a good guess. She appreciates that.
You know what? I can get. You want me to give him a clue? Glenn?
I'm sure you'll give it away. Oh, we're getting closer, though, Lou. We're getting closer. Let's not give them a clue yet. They're getting closer.
Yeah, they're getting closer. Take a look at the chat and see
all I've talked about ad nauseum on this show, Lou, is about the WNBA. You brought up their success, expansion team. What do? They basically put a better product on the court than the Giants put on the field last year. They made the playoffs, Lou. And I said other teams are doing it the right way. building when you build
From
a
within,
team from the
the
bottom
glass.
up, that's the way. I'm always a proponent that you do that. You build from the bottom up and it blossoms, Lou.
Yeah. I completely agree. Yeah, Joe Boyd, again, Buster's only done it 1 year, but, sort of to me, look at this. We got a winner.
Oh, do we have a qualifier tonight already? Do we have a... I believe we do. Do you want to announce who tonight's qualifier is? Lou.
Somebody actually paid attention.
Who's the qualifier for tonight's show, Lou?
Dan Coach Amelia, the great Dan.
And his word of the night, what was our word of the night?
Sharks.
That's right. In the green room, Lou and I don't know if the fans out there, I mean, this being a Giants show, we're kind of like tiptoeing on other sports, we're just not necessarily talking about the other sports, Lou, but we're kind of blended, talking about what they do and the Giants don't, for lack of a better term tonight. And the Sharks have built it from the ground up. They've got young players, Lou, predominantly. They get a beautiful young goaltender they got from Nashville. They've got Celebrini, and you and I were talking about what they did last night at the PPP Arena in Pittsburgh. Wasn't that a day? And Lou ruined it on me. I go, Lou, I just finished watching this game. It was unbelievable. And you said you're watching the replay.
Yeah.
Lou told me the score. I said, oh, you're kidding me. They were going overtime. I said it was 5-1. And they won in overtime.
People don't know the Sharks are in the 7th spot right now if the season were to end right now.
Yeah, they couldn't win to stay. Lou, they were the opposite of the Giants, were they not? The Giants couldn't lose in the first month. The Sharks couldn't win a game.
No, they were, I think, at one time, 1-11, and now they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, unbelievable. So the word of the night was Sharks because of their great game.
Unbelievable. Yeah, they've had an incredible win yesterday. In case you didn't see it, they were down 4-1 in the third, came back to tie it, and then won in overtime. The great thing about them is they're young and they're hungry. They sort of remind me, again, they're not as good talent as Oklahoma Thunder, but these guys all literally have the same goal. There's no egos. You have one superstar, yes, but he's young, so he doesn't know he's a superstar. And they got a goalie, and, they're fun to watch. They're exciting. So I think it's one of those things. So, Dan, what numbers are taken? 6 and 8?
So far, we've got 6-8. So Dan's got to pick a number between 1 and 12.
1 and 12.
6 and 8 are already off the board. Spencer Stewart asking, what's the name of the arena? PPP. It's PPG. PPG. The Paints, Pittsburgh Paints. They are sponsors of the arena. Whichever, you know what? It's PPG now. It could be something different. Remember, we were already what? We were Pac-Bell. We were Oracle. All right, he's got 7. I'll put that on the board tonight after the show. I'll make sure you're writing it down anyway. I'll have it on my board here.
So 6, 7,
we got another qualifier. There he is with number 7.
Good job, Dan. Way to listen.
I'm going to get him a wig for Christmas. That's what I'm doing. I'd like to see him with hair.
Oh, I didn't hear Will Smith got injured. I didn't hear that.
I'll tell you, the more I watch Celebrini's going to blossom, Lou.
Oh, he's a stud.
Well, he already is. I think he's better than Bedard as it stands right now with less playing time.
And the thing is, their front line, I think, is what? 18, 19, and they got another 20-year-old. So they're going to, in 3 years, they'll be the Bay Area because there's a big difference when you don't get a superstar. The Giants need a superstar. We have guys that are good. They're just not superstars. But it doesn't matter who you have when you have so many holes. Right now, we'll just be blunt. Giants need at least 1, possibly 2 starters. And I'm being gracious. We probably need 3 arms in the bullpen. Okay? Because last year, we had guys that would do stints of a week. But if they're going to be starting on the big league team, starting with us in March, they're not going to be able to be the same in July and August. The Giants keep running down. We have a problem with the outfield. Everyone thinks Lee shouldn't be a center fielder. Well, we got to move him to one of the corners. Well, when you don't have somebody to fill that spot, that doesn't really help. We also need a guy off the bench. We lost Flores. He's gone. Who's going to be our bench player? Dominic Smith's not with the Giants anymore, guys.
No,
so we've lost him.
Both. Arguably, Lou, our best bench talent is gone.
Yeah,
righty
and lefty are
gone. What do we actually have that's like top tier? Not much, Lou. No. Not much, if anything.
People love Dominic Smith's defense. That's gone.
He played solid first base.
We don't know if Eldridge can play first base defensively.
No.
We know Devers played the last third of the season, but again, it's not the whole season.
Lou, were you there? Were you there the afternoon he played his first game at first base at Oracle Park?
I was not. Were you there? I'm trying to think who it was and what it was. I just remember how big the news was.
I was there. I
thought it was in Arizona. Oh no.
Okay. His first game at Oracle Park at first base, Lou.
Oh, okay. After Arizona, I got it.
Lou, it was ugly. He really pulled it together. But again, you know what? Lou, again, I question the fan base because the same people are like, oh, Devers will be okay at first. His defense, they're the ones who are saying we got to win with pitching and defense. Well, his defense is pretty, it ain't top shelf. And you know what you're getting from Ramos out in left field, Lou?
That's another problem.
And I got to tell you, as much as you want to say that Willie Adames, your Willie Mac Player of the Year who belted 30 home runs, Lou, but only come up with like 70 RBIs. I don't understand that, how he can have – you only get twice as many RBIs as you do home runs in baseball. I don't get that. But anyway, Willie Adames does not have the most he doesn't have a gold glove at shortstop, Lou. So, I question is that – and to be honest too, Lou, there's a lot of people who bitch and complain to us. Oh, why do you always talk about getting rid of Bailey? I said, Bailey is not – how he wins a glove behind home plate, Lou. He is a lot of pass balls last year, Lou. He wasn't exactly a brick wall behind home plate last year, Lou. And he certainly couldn't hit. So anyway, I'm saying this is not the defensive team that everybody wishes they were. You can't – if you're going to win with pitching and defense, then they really got a lot of work to do, Lou. And you know how much work they got to do with the bats right now. I mean, we really don't have enough in that department. So again, I implore upon you to come up with an answer, a reasoning of what is their strength, Lou. There are just too many weaknesses to this team.
I mean, what are the Giants going to do for next year in case say Casey's not coming back, right, for the first month of the season? If the guy had surgery, we don't know. So we're going to be happy with Kristen Koss. Tyler Fitzgerald at second? What are you kidding
me? There are fans who love him, though. There are fans who just buy into this Koss as he's like, oh, he's everyday MLB talent. I'm like, all right. Well, I don't see it.
It's
not a stud.
Struggle again.
Not a stud.
Yeah.
And Lou, do you agree as well? I mean, I'm just picking obvious points, Lou. I mean, this is not like I'm branding something brand new tonight to you. But let's say a season starts, and you go, geez, Glennie, we're late in ball games. The pitching's keeping us in, and we're in there. It's a 5-5 ball game. Well, that's okay. So you got some hits, you got the starting. Then you're relying on a bullpen that we don't have. We don't have a closer, Lou. We don't have a closer. So that part of your game stinks. Then if your starting pitching doesn't come out of the gate strong, well, what are you going to do? Well, it's 7-1 for, the Mexican team as we continue to get ready for a strong season. 7-1 here. So that didn't work. And then, how many times, Lou, I've bitched about being at the ballpark so many days. I look down at you, wave to you in your beautiful seats. So, Lou, and I'm pointing up at the board. Lou, 8th inning, we got 2 hits. That ain't cutting it. So what should they be? What do you fix first? And maybe that's the problem.
I think that's the key you got to fix. So, Glenn, I forgot which chat guy asked the question, and it got answered by the guy on MLB TV. He brought up a great point. The Giants, on their 40-man roster, have 23 pitchers. The average team has 15. So what are they going to do with these extra players? That was what he commented on. Again, was it MLB? I'm pretty sure it was the MLB Network when one of the guys from the chat got taken. And that guy goes, I'm confused. I don't know what the Giants are thinking. Why do they need 23 pitchers? Are they going to trade a couple of them to pick up players? So that's the problem right now. We have 23 guys on the 40-man roster of pitchers, and out of them, I probably trust maybe 6. So again, we're back to where we have these guys that are great AAA players, but they're just below maybe the major league roster, as we refer to as 4A players. You know, they're good for a couple weeks, but they probably belong more in AAA. Giants I think the Giants, like I said, they have 3 problems. They have nobody that can hit in the clutch. They have nobody that can come off the bench, and their pitching's a problem. They got to fix one of the 3 problems, or you know what? I don't care if you guys think the Rockies are bad. The Rockies are going to come to us and probably pass us by. I'm sorry, but we have too many holes.
That's true.
It's scary.
You know what? Before we wrap it up, we're getting close to wrapping it up. Glenn, let's get sentimental. Do you remember your first Giants game? Was it with your family, with your friends? Well, first of all, I don't have many friends. I got Lou now, so that's great. I love Lou. Lou, you know I love you. Christmas time, I'm getting a little sentimental. Lou's a good buddy of mine now. I think you've kind of grown on me like a fungus at times. You kind of, you're sticking around with me. So I appreciate that. Eric's a good friend of mine. But, I went to my I grew up watching the Expos and the Giants. Expos were in your face because I grew up in the Maritimes of Canada, and they were on TV every day, or on CBC, CTV. You got Dave Van Horn and Duke Snyder doing the play-by-play. Dave went down to the Miami Marlins in the expansion when the team was breaking up. So I grew up with the Expos, watched a lot of Giants games, liked the Giants. Well, I really liked Chris Spire. He was kind of my player back in the 70s.
Wonder Boy. The Wonder Boy.
I liked Chris. And I used to have all his baseball cards, tacked up to my wall. But my first Giants game, Lou, was June 13th, 2012. Can you tell me why that was a significant night for me and for Giants fans everywhere?
June one more time. June
13th, 2012.
June 12th.
Any idea why my first Giants game on June 13th, 2012 was one that I will remember always? No?
Did your man come through with like 2 homers in one game?
Oh, we didn't really even need homers, Lou. We didn't need offense because on June 13th,
against Houston, the perfect game.
Threw a perfect game, and I was there. It was my first ever game.
Yes.
I was there, Lou. My first game. And then I've seen some good ones. I went to an afternoon game around might have been around 2012 or 13, maybe a few years later. I can't remember the exact date, obviously, but I got to see a real pitchers battle, and it was Strasburg and Lincecum afternoon game, and I had your seat on the other side by the Washington Nationals dugout, and it was a great afternoon. The Giants lost 5-3, but it was a great game. So those are my early recollections of going to Oracle Park. And again, it was Pac Bell. Has it only had the 2 names, Lou? Remind me. Refresh my memory. Pac Bell.
No, I think 3.
AT&T.
Pac Bell. SBC Park, wasn't it? Like they changed the name.
SBC? Yeah, Bernice said it was SPC.
That was only like a year of that.
Yeah.
AT&T Park.
Yeah, they move it around. The names.
AT&T before Oracle.
The names change.
I
don't know about you.
I've been pretty fortunate.
Oracle.
I think for me, one of my most famous games, I was actually, I'll give you 2 games because I used to go opening day every year with my dad and all my brothers. My parents would write a note, "Hey, Lou's sick," and we'd go probably from the age, I'd say 7 on. But probably one of the most dramatic games, even though the Giants lost, is I was at Jerry Royce's no-hitter against the Giants. It was a Friday night.
Really?
Dodgers, Giants at the stick, packed.
Really?
And what was funny is I was playing flame baseball before. So we got there, missed the top of the first. The Dodgers scored, and there was an error. Jack Clark hit a ball where the shortstop bobbled it. He beat it out. He actually ran it out. Then nobody else got anything. So it wasn't a perfect game, but it was a no-hitter, and it was 25 straight guys went down. And the Dodgers beat us. I went to the game, and nobody scored. But, I think it's one of those things where we've all had dramatic games. It's hard to remember your first game. But, growing up in the, I'd say in the 70s and 80s, my favorite player was a guy that nobody even really remembers, a guy named Darrell Evans. I don't know if you remember, he played first and third. Darrell Evans, he actually was still on one of the only teams, I think, with 340 homers. He played with Hank Aaron at Atlanta. There was him. And I'm trying to think of the other guy that hit it. But it's I was at opening day, Aaron. Opening day in 2000, yeah. That's when people thought the Giants. In fact, if you remember, Elster hit 3 homers. The Giants got blasted. And the Giants, if I remember right, lost their first 6 games at home. I think it was either first 5 or first 6. Yeah, there you go, Dan, number 41, Darrell Evans. And then I was pretty fortunate where I've always sat in third base, but that used to be the visitors' dugout. So I don't know if you guys remember another famous Dodger sort of a character was a guy named Jay Johnstone. He actually would appear with Johnny Bench on the the baseball bunch. And where I sat, the visiting team, he'd always say, "Hey, can you do me a favor? Get me a couple hot chocolates." And I'd go up in the stands, spend like $3, get hot chocolates, and he'd give me a ball. And it'd be signed by him saying, "Hey, thanks, Jay Johnstone."
Bill
nice.
James.
And then
Bill James came out. Did you know there was an article came out? I can't remember how many years ago. I read it. Bill James, the famous historian of baseball statistics, he claims that if you break down, how he does mathematics, you gotta go to Yale to get a mathematical degree and how to figure it out. But he said that Darrell Evans is the most underrated ball player in the history of the game.
He was pretty amazing.
He was the 22nd player in baseball history to hit his 400th home run. I mean, he had good numbers, Lou.
Yeah, the Giants back then really didn't have much. I mean, to tell you the truth, in the 70s, the Giants appeared, I don't know if people know this, but on Sports Illustrated with their 4 aces. They had the 4 aces. John Barr, who, of course, is, I don't know if he's still with the Giants, but he was sort of an executive, did the draft. Ed Halicki, John Montefusco, and
the count.
And I'm trying to think who the 4th guy might have been. But they were on the Sports Illustrated cover. The 4 was sort of like the Giants' big 4.
The 4 horsemen.
Unfortunately.
You know what?
And back then,
I always cheer for the underdog.
The other thing, it was one. Yep. Yeah, the Western Division was the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Cincinnati Reds, and Houston Astros. That was our division.
Yep. Oh boy, how's baseball?
It was.
I'm an underdog guy. I cheer for Wilmer Flores, and I always have through his Mets, and then Arizona. And thank God he played. That's the cool thing about baseball too, Lou. If you're a fan of a particular player, like Biff Pacoroba, who never was a Giant, but if you like a player, and then he ends up down the line on your team, that's kind of magical. But I was a fan of Chris Spire. Chris was an up-and-comer. He had his best days, in my opinion. Best days as a Montreal Expos shortstop. Best days as a
Wonder Boy.
But you know who I really like? Do you remember John Curtis?
I don't remember John Curtis.
John Curtis was a pitcher.
Was he a pitcher?
Yeah, around 78, 79 with the Giants. I like John Curtis.
Yeah, I know. Gary Lavelle was these were starters for the Giants. Gary Lavelle, as we know, should have been MVP of that All-Star game, but they gave it to Don Sutton. I'm trying to think of that 4th Giant. Ed Halicki, John Barr, John Montefusco. God, this is back in the 70s, guys. This is over 50 years ago. Sorry.
I want to thank Bill Lasky while you're thinking about that. Bill Lasky sent me my annual Christmas card. He's a big fan of the show.
John D'Acquisto. That's who it might have been. Way to go, Spence.
Thank you.
John D'Acquisto. I think that might have been the 4th. Yeah, damn, bringing up Pete Falcon, the lefty. I remember him.
Yep.
And then I'll tell you the craziest thing, Glenn, because you probably have met some crazy guys with injuries and everything. Being a hockey fan, no teeth, no anything. Maybe you guys are missing fingers.
I'm at the dentist tomorrow.
I actually met a guy named Roger Mexer, who the Giants traded for. He was a shortstop, and he literally had an accident, and he lost these 2 index fingers. They were just stubs. So he was missing part of them. So when you shook his hand, that's how it was.
Oh, geez. Okay.
But he played shortstop. He only made 3 errors that whole season for the Giants. He was a Giants shortstop.
Don't judge the book by cover.
Yeah, exactly. So that's always a good way to end it. But
So they're throwing as we close up the show. Look at all. Maybe
Bob
tomorrow.
Maybe it was Bob Nepper.
Maybe tomorrow night, Lou.
Forget how great he was.
Maybe the name on the 12 Days of Christmas, evening number 4, as we progress toward giving away the prize.
Giants,
maybe we'll have a Giant player. Who knows? A yesteryear player. So they'll come out of the gate swinging on the opening pitch tomorrow night, Lou. I can see
Bob Nepper. They should have never got rid of him. Boy, he had a great career in Houston.
Bobby Nepper. There you go. Anyway, ready to get out of here. I do have a dentist appointment bright and early, 8:30 tomorrow morning, Lou. I got to get across town. I'm going to get if anybody needs more beauty sleep, it's you, but I need some as well. I'm going to get my beauty sleep tonight. A fresh, Lou, tip my little visor to you, buddy. Good show tonight, Lou.
Yeah. Anytime we survive over an hour and 40 minutes and people don't throw us off, we're doing okay.
I didn't want to keep you too long, but I think we carry on a good show. The fan base over there in the chat, man, they were at odds with each other tonight. They were coming in hard. They were coming in swinging tonight, Lou. We got to talk.
Hey, before we forget, Glenn, you had one super chat, so I wanted to make sure did you get a chance to say that?
Want me to bring it up now? I apologize for that. And
all right, JB.
And because it's from our old pal JB, I believe JB doesn't get all the love he should around here, right? So let's do this.
And now, another Giant Sports Talk Live Super Chat.
JB kind of, thanks, Eric.
And now, another Giant Sports Talk Live Super Chat.
All right, JB started off the show with some great comments. Were the teams of 2010 to 2014 more dynamic in terms of stolen bases, Lou, than our current line? Oh, I can answer that. That answers itself. Can the team succeed if stealing bases isn't our strength? I will throw that to you, Lou, and I will add, can the team succeed if stealing bases isn't even in our portfolio? Not a strength, isn't even in our portfolio, Lou.
Yeah, I think the one thing is as we know, 3 years ago, the major leagues changed with bigger bases to help the stealing process. And the Giants have not adapted. I don't know if you guys see other teams. Everybody else does it.
Wait, sorry, Lou.
Yeah.
You bring up the bases? Well, I'm on the other side saying, Lou, you can only get 2 pickoff times.
Also, the 2 pickoffs I was going to bring up. I'm just saying there's an advantage to the base stealer. And what these guys do is, and let me tell you, here's the key. If he's already thrown over twice, if he throws over and does not get you out, it's a balk. Everyone knows the rules. Everyone knows the rules.
Free base.
The other thing is, you look at teams like Toronto. You look at these other teams, they run crazy. I mean, I forgot the team last year against the Giants. Now, again, Bailey's been great throwing out players. But
there were 2 teams. There were 2 teams that really used base running to their advantage, Lou, last year as far as statistical. I mean, they produced runs, and that was the Milwaukee Brewers and the Tampa Bay Rays. They created run opportunities. They got a guy at first, he's at second before you know it. And if he's at second, Lou, he's in scoring position. Giants can't get guys. Lou, I've said it before. Giants can get guys at second and third or the base is loaded, nobody out. Doesn't mean they're scoring.
Again, you got to hit in the clutch. And the one thing is, I thought the Giants last year, and Glenn brought this up earlier, they'll bring a pinch runner in.
Yeah.
But that guy doesn't even try to make a stolen base. So the inning ends. So now you've wasted a player's, you can only play 26 players in one game. Okay.
Yep.
And we're just saying That's all you have on that one particular. So the Giants sort of like go against what everybody else is doing. Well, the other thing is we always say, like Jung-Hoo Lee when he first got here, we all thought this guy's going to steal 30 bases easy. The thing about the Giants last year, if you take away their opening road trip, where I believe it was 10 games, and the Giants did well. They were like 7-3. They got off to that great start. The Giants had like 11 stolen bases in that one, I think, first 13 games. I think they winded up the next 150 games with 19 stolen bases. We were dead last. And I don't even know how many attempts. I'm just saying total stolen bases. So to your question, JB, the Giants, when they were in 10, 12, and 14, if you remember the terminology torture, the Giants didn't have that many games where they had players there. If you remember, the torture was Giants win again 2-1. Giants win again 1-0. Giants win again 3-1. Those games, it wasn't like running is now. Now you get a player on first, boom. The guys at second. The other thing about the Giants is the other thing they missed out on last year, they'd get a leadoff double. And if you're not going to steal, why not bunt the guy over? So now you got to get a third with less than 2 outs. They stopped doing that. They stopped doing small ball, but they had a small ball team. So, to your question, back then stolen bases weren't big, but now they're really part of the game, especially where you can only throw over twice. So I think it's pretty important now. The Giants always say, hey, we're going to be better defensively. But I don't know how the team's going to be better defensively because they haven't filled the holes. Right. The Giants also going to hit better in the clutch. Well, right now we have nobody from last year's team that actually hit in the clutch.
The 2 clutch players are gone.
The 2 clutch players are gone. Dominic, if you guys remember last year in August and September, I think he at one time, didn't he have like 9 straight pinch hits? He was unbelievable, Dominic. That's why he succeeded. That's why they had to keep him in the lineup. And then the first 3 months of the season was all about Wilmer. All about Wilmer. And just right now you lost those 2 guys. There's nobody that we know is going to be able to hit off the bench. We don't even have, you guys got to remember, our star DH last year was a guy from the Mexican League.
I was going to say that. Ifs and buts, Lou. What do we don't have we don't have our 2 guys off the bench who are legitimate off the bench guys. You mentioned one of them being my guy Wilmer. You got this other guy, Lou. A lot of unanswered questions when it comes to Encarnacion. And just the fact that you got him on a dime. You got him to the Mexican League. You're trying to get a turd to shine like a diamond, Lou.
Yeah.
Go out and give me the quality player right off the bat. No screwing
That's
around.
Can somebody tell me in the chat who has been a good, since the DH has been in the National League, we've had nobody. We haven't had a DH. We got guys all over the place that, we think can hit, but they can't. He might have hit 10 years ago, but he can't hit now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron, that's the thing. The league has changed. Baseball's changed. The Giants haven't adapted. That's my biggest problem.
Lou, before we wrap it up, my go-home topic tonight will be, Dan, I'm going to take a shot at Dan. But it's all in fun, right, Lou? It's all in fun. Lou's, Dan's in our chat. He's participating. Good to see. And he qualified. And what number did he pick tonight? Number 7?
He picked 7. Lucky 7.
All right. Lucky
5-2.
7. Then a brand
6-1, 7, winner. Roller,
right. So
you still wanted to roll the dice.
He said he wanted to be, a sports broadcaster. So he's doing what he does. And he sort of feels that. But a little narcissism from Glennie tonight, Lou. Not a little narcissism on a Sunday night, Lou. And you've been a great host with me tonight. Appreciate that. I got to ask you, can he do this?
A whole lot of playing time. Force it back in front of Savai at the line. Oceanic Briere with the burst of speed. Cuts it on the right side. Moves it on goal. Jams it in on Fleury. Stopped it. Briere was cruising into the goal mouth area. Shot kicked away. Best legs in town. Knock on Ray Fleury. But don't tell him I said that. As he kicks it away, the Eagles are able to clear it down the ice once again. Here the Oceanic with a burst of speed up on the right side. Late stages of the power play, which now has come to a close. 2-2 hockey game. The Eagles continue to weather the short-handed storm in this game. 12:07, third period. Max to Robert, dumps it in wide of Semi, cutting it after George Davis. Centers one in front, went off a body, picked up by the Eagles. They now center again, shot, scored! Yes! What a setup, what a goal! Maxim Robert is doing everything today. Would you believe it? The Eagles take a 3-2 lead. You kidding me? Back in this game. Great play in their own zone by Fleury at the other end. Finally putting the puck past goaltender Eric Semi. Brand new game. Good guys lead. 11:58 left third period. 3-2 in Sydney. The rump of the goaltender. He sits on top of it. Can you believe it? You kidding me? What a stop. As both goaltenders tonight have said thank you very, very much to the post. The Mooseheads putting the pressure in the Eagles zone. Brandon Benedict to the point. Sherrill has it. Shot. Big stop. Rebound is there. The Mooseheads come close again to striking for their second goal. Fleury says, how do you do? No way, Jose. Shot to the point. And another shot. This one is kicked away by Fleury. And the rebound off Fleury's pad is all the way back at center end stripe. Fleury continues to amaze even me. And fed to center as Villeneuve finds his man, Lassard, in the left wing, drops it off to McRae. McRae sends it behind the net for Lassard in flight. Centers loose on the doorstep, jamming it at Dixon, and they score! Yes, the game is tied at 1! Second effort by the Roadrunner, Steven Dixon. You kidding me? Nobody touched him. Goaltender Boutin at his mercy. Steven Dixon, low, right side of the goal, ties it up. Yes, just
there you go. That's a little narcissism, bringing it hard. That
that is so good.
Dan, that's how you do it, man. Eric,
I think hockey announcing is so tough because it flies by. Man. I have a question since you're more the Canadian. So one of a good movie that I always, when it comes on, I'll always watch is a Rob Lowe film called Youngblood. I don't know if you ever saw it.
They like to drop the bit for that one, don't they?
Yeah. So is that sort of how hockey is? Where most of the kids, you have a tryout and you play in places that are so small, maybe 600 people, 700. I'm not like Slapshot. I'm talking Youngblood where you're trying to get just to the next level. Because I think one of the things people don't understand about hockey is how big it is outside of the United States. Every time you see a draft, a kid either comes from college or he's from, the North Canadian Division II team. I mean, how big is it back there?
Oh, it's completely different, Lou.
Yeah.
It's apples and oranges. You've got college hockey. It's rah-rah. You know what an NCAA football afternoon is like? You got the band playing. Well, you put the band in the arena. There's only so many seating opportunities in an NCAA size rink. Like you go to the Ralph Engelstad Arena, which was one of the most predominant arenas up there in North Dakota. And they had some great players go through there. Dave Christian played there. He was great. Winnipeg Jet, of course, so he didn't have to go far. But you had the band playing. I love the atmosphere. But as far as like a young player developing, Lou, the CHL, which takes in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, the Ontario Hockey League, and the Western Hockey League. That encompasses all of Canada. That's where you get your players from 16 to 19 years old. You're allowed 3 overage players at 19. So you got 16, 17, 18-year-olds playing and a couple of your stars, your veterans, those guys that take you over the top to a championship. Yeah. You're only allowed 3. So you go to a game in the Quebec League. When I broadcast, I don't know if you could hear the first goal call I just did.
Yeah.
You knew the minute the puck went in and I said scores because you could hear into the crowd. Yeah. There would be probably, 12, 13,000 people at that game in a small city. And then you go to Halifax, they'd be sold out every game. But
so would it be sort of like how
Lou, when you went to the smaller cities, that was what held Canadian small city hockey held it together. We would go play in a small little town where, you must have heard of the famous goaltender Jacques Plante. The Jacques Plante Arena in Shawinigan, this old arena. We'd go in there playing a Friday night or a Sunday afternoon, Lou. There was one game, the little Mickeys, the little bottles?
Oh, yeah.
Get them out
in the Big Mouth, yeah.
Dude, they have no broadcast booth. So they're like, well, you've got to set up in the stands. And I'm in the stands, of course, with all the rival thing. And they're Lou, it's a good thing I was doing an English language broadcast because they were calling me everything in French that you could imagine. And I knew what some of those words meant being around a French hockey club a lot. So I'm just saying it was, but it's night and day, Lou. You get college, it's raw. Quebec, it's like the meat and potatoes of hockey development and how it just, the city, some of these cities in northern Quebec, Ontario, nothing there, Lou. You get a radio show. Still got a radio show.
That's the only way to get out of that city, that area, right?
Yeah. So you bring up Youngblood's a real good one. There's another one that came out in the 1980s called Hockey Night. That was more a teenage. It was Youngblood's kind of young adult too, but Hockey Night. Look for that one on YouTube. Movie called Hockey Night. Great movie, and it shows how playing like Sault Ste. Marie in Northern Ontario, the young guys trying to make, and they had a girl trying to make the team, and she was better than the guys. And how Mr. Lumber, he's like, she ain't playing on the team. They're calling them the Lumberettes. Get her off the team. And then the players all stood up for her. So that's
because like whenever it's the NFL, when they have the NHL draft. Like when Chicago got their stud 2 years ago, I never even heard of this. I think it was the Carolina League, and everyone knows who they are because these guys have been groomed for the pros for like 3 years. They're the superstars. It's one of those things. Like it's just a different world. To me, I think the closest it would be sort of like how Friday Night Lights, which is about football in Texas, where everyone knows who all the stars are before they go to college. And then before they go to the pros, I just find it interesting, because a lot of these places.
The football movie, Friday Night. Now you know what I'm going to be thinking of all night? Some Scorpions. Big city nights. Oh, there you go. Lou, can we get out of here? I got the dentist.
Yeah, let's do it.
Get out of here. Lou, I can't stress enough how great it is.
I appreciate it. And I know Eric is Eric's a little under the weather too, so he'll be back.
I said he was on assignment. He was on something. We're not sure. He had a little problem
under the weather. And as you know, Glenn's used to this weather. A lot of people in the Bay Area, it's been so goddamn cold in the mornings. It's been like high 30s. And at night, as soon as the sun goes down, it's 20 degrees. We're all complaining. Glenn's wearing his G-string, walking around with a tank top. It's so warm for him by the ballpark.
Easy.
We're just not used to this weather.
You only wish. You're giving out those romance topics. Let's not take this too far, Lou. Come on, Lou. All right, that's it. We'll be back tomorrow night with night number 4 of 12. What is going to be 12 nights? The 12 nights of Christmas. And tomorrow night, I'll give you a hint. Tomorrow night, it will be a player name of yesteryear, and we'll be kind of intertwining the topic, his name, into the show without saying it. So just be ready tomorrow night, your chance to qualify to win. But before we head on out of here, Lou, again, we'll run the sponsorship. We want to give our sponsor of 12 days a little plug. We'll head on out of here with that. Eric's a little under the weather tonight, so I think before we wrap up, Lou, you and I will drop out. Charlo's going to drop by to wish Eric a happy evening, and then we'll head home. We'll get ready for another show tomorrow night. Lou, thanks as always for a great night. Giant Sports Talk Live, and thank you to everybody who participated in the chat and our sponsors. Without all those people, the whole package with the bow on top, Lou, it really brings it all together. We need the sponsors, we need the chat, we need you, Lou, me, everybody. It's one big happy family here.
And again, Dan, congratulations on saying the Sharks tonight and the word of the night. Congrats.
Christmas returns to Giant Sports Talk Live. Ho, ho, ho. Be watching Giant Sports Talk Live for the 12 days of Giant Sports Talk Christmas. We'll announce one qualifier each night for 12 days, and on Christmas Eve, we'll draw for a grand prize of a Giants game day experience with Glenn, Eric, and Lou Marsden, which includes front row dugout seating and refreshments, and a bonus prize of a Will Clark autographed team helmet. To qualify, simply be watching Giant Sports Talk Live and pick a number between 1 and 12. Then on Christmas Eve, Santa's elves, Glenn and Eric, will randomly choose the grand prize winner. The 12 days of Giant Sports Talk Christmas on Giant Sports Talk Live. Brought to you by Tommy's Mexican Mexican restaurant, where it's always a festive time of year. Giant Sports Talk Live, a Northern Lights Entertainment broadcasting station.
What's up, Chardal?
I'm going to be singing a song for you today.
You don't have to. It's up to you, man.
I'm going to sing Don't Stop Believing because you're not having a great day, so I want to lift up your spirits.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who have tuned in, the great Chardal will be performing Don't Stop Believing. Take it away, Chardal.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. A singer in a smoky room, a smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they could share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers wait. Up and down the boulevard, their shadows searching in the night. Woo! Street lights, people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night, working hard to get my fill. Everybody wants a thrill, paying anything to roll the dice just one more time. Some will win, some will lose. Some are born to sing the blues. Whoa, the movie never ends. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard. Their shadows searching in the night. Street lights, people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Don't stop believing. Hold on, street lights, people. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street lights, people.
That was pretty good, except the chorus. You lost me in the chorus, man.
You've been watching Giant Sports Talk Live with Eric and Glenn, a Northern Lights Entertainment Broadcasting production.